Serial killers are a perplexing enigma, a dark breed that lurks among us, often disguised as ordinary people. They operate in the shadows, preying upon unsuspecting victims, leaving a trail of fear and devastation in their wake. We often wonder, what drives these individuals to commit such heinous acts? We've seen infamous figures like Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, and Aileen Wuornos, who have become chilling legends in their own right. Today, we dive into the chilling story of Leonarda Cianciulli, a name that sends shivers down the spine of all those who hear about her deeds. Her actions shocked an entire nation and left an unforgettable mark on criminal history. In this video, we will explore the dark and twisted tale of Leonarda Cianciulli, the infamous soap maker of Correggio. Leonarda Cianciulli was born in the Kingdom of Italy, modern-day Montella, Avellino on April 18, 1894. Growing up in a time of hardship and desperation, where superstitions and dark beliefs intertwined with everyday life, she was exposed to all these superstitions at a very young age. She had a troubled childhood and even attempted to take her own life 2 times. In 1917, at the age of 23, and against her mother's wishes, she married Raffaele Pansardi, an office registry clerk. Her mother never supported the marriage as she wanted her daughter to marry someone else, a wealthy man that could take care of them. But Leonarda didn't listen to her mother, and this caused a strain in their relationship. In 1921, the couple moved to Raffaele's hometown Lauria, Potenza, and only 6 years later in 1927, Leonarda was arrested and imprisoned for fraud. After her release, they couldn't remain there, as now, they had eyes on them, and so the couple moved once again to Lacedonia, Avellino. The 1930 Irpinia earthquake destroyed their home, and they moved once more to Correggio, Reggio Emilia. Here, Leonarda decided to live a law-abiding life, so she opened a small shop. She was very popular and well-respected within her neighborhood. Everyone knew her, and she was the go-to person for anything you wanted to buy. The fact that they were moving a lot didn't stop the couple from wanting to expand their family. Leonarda in the course of her life had 17 pregnancies, but had 3 miscarriages. Unfortunately, the child loss for Leonarda didn't stop there. 10 of her children died in their youth, and this led her to believe her mother's curses were working in her life. She also became extremely protective of her remaining 4 children. Mothers are really protective of their kids, but when a mother has lost a child, they can become overly protective of their surviving children. And this led her down a dark path, one that no one saw coming. With time, Leonarda managed to develop skills in fortune-telling and palmistry. She claimed to possess psychic abilities and was sought after by locals for advice and predictions. These abilities may have provided her with a sense of power and control over her own life. In 1939, her favorite and eldest son Giuseppe enlisted in the army in preparation of World War II. In her bid to prevent any more losses from happening, Leonarda came up with a twisted solution. She decided she would sacrifice people in exchange for her son's protection. She was so superstitious, and she believed in a life for a life. Well, in this case, lives for a life. In late 1940, a woman by name Albertina Fanti reported her sister-in-law, Virginia Cassiopo's disappearance to the police. But it wasn't just a missing persons report. She had a lead for authorities. On the 30th of September 1940, she had seen her sister-in-law entering into a house, Leonarda Cianciulli's house. When detectives questioned Leonarda, she gave them her statement, but they discovered lots of inconsistencies. This made them even more suspicious, and so they decided to search her house. There, they found some buried bones on her property, and they knew they had gotten her, and so, she was arrested. Leonarda at first denied everything. Authorities got to know about her love for her kids, and so they decided to play her. They told her they believed her and they knew who the real culprit was. They blamed her son for the murders, and only then did she confess, warning them to leave her son out of it. Authorities were in for a surprise. While they only knew for sure about Valentina, Leonarda mentioned 2 other victims. They were both middle-aged women who had trusted her. Her first victim was Faustina Setti, a spinster. Faustina had gone to Leonarda to help her find a husband and had even paid 30,000 lire for her help. Soon, Leonarda told her of a suitable partner in Pola, but asked her not to tell anyone of the news. She also persuaded Faustina to write letters and postcards to relatives and friends, that she would mail when she got to Pola, to tell them that everything was fine. Preparing for her departure, Faustina went to visit Leonarda one last time to thank her for her help. Leonarda killed her with an axe and then dragged the body into a closet, where she went ahead to cut the body into 9 parts and the blood gathered into a basin. When asked about what she did next, Leonarda had a chilling tale. "I threw the pieces into a pot, added 7 kilos of caustic soda, which I had bought to make soap, and stirred the mixture until the pieces dissolved into a thick, dark mush that I poured into several buckets and emptied in a nearby septic tank. As for the blood in the basin, I waited until it had coagulated, dried it in the oven, ground it and mixed it with flour, sugar, chocolate, milk and eggs, as well as a bit of margarine, kneading all the ingredients together. I made lots of crunchy tea cakes and served them to the ladies who came to visit, though Giuseppe and I also ate them." Detectives were shocked. How could such a sweet-looking lady be so evil? She then told them of her second victim, Francesca Soavi, who was looking for a job. She convinced Francesca she had a job for her in Piacenza. She gave the same instructions about the letters and postcards, and on September 5, 1940, Francesca went to Leonarda's house for one last time, unknowingly going into the slaughterhouse. She met the same fate as Faustina. She had paid Leonarda 3,000 lire for the job. Her third and final victim was Virginia Cacioppo, a widow who also wanted a job. She gave the same instructions, and like the previous victims, Virginia went for one last visit. In Leonarda's own words, she ended up in the pot. Like the other 2, her flesh was fat and white. When it had melted, I added a bottle of cologne, and after a long time on the boil I was able to make some most acceptable creamy soap. I gave bars to neighbors and acquaintances. The cakes, too, were better. That woman was really sweet. Imagine not knowing the cakes and soaps gifted to you by your neighbor was made from human remains. The sheer horror they must have felt when the news broke. If Virginia's sister-in-law hadn't seen her entering the house on that fateful day, Leonarda would probably have killed more people. Leonarda Cianciulli was tried for murder in Reggio Emilia in 1946, and she remained unrepentant, even going so far as to correct the official account while on the stand. She wanted to be known, she took pride in her actions and even smiled at intervals. This woman was crazy. Leonarda Cianciulli was found guilty of her crimes and sentenced to 30 years in prison and 3 years in a criminal asylum. She died of cerebral apoplexy in the Women's Criminal Asylum in Pozzuoli on October 15, 1970. Leonarda Cianciulli's story is both chilling and intriguing, reminding us of the depths to which the human psyche can descend. Leonarda's desperate quest for love and protection drove her down a path of darkness and violence, unfortunately, taking the lives of 3 people. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe.